It's do or die time right now in the fantasy playoffs. You win, you in. You lose, you're out. We're fighting to get to the championship game. Isaac Guerendo most likely is going to be out this week. Most likely, there's still a small chance. We'll cover that later. But everybody's looking at Patrick Taylor. He's one of the top players in searches on Sleeper right now. People are asking questions about him. So we're going to do a deep dive right here, right now, today with the You Need series. And we're going to see whether or not you need him for your fantasy football team by looking at the analytics, his situation, so you can make your decision. But before we dive in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We do deep dives like this every single day on as many players as possible. All the trending players, the guys coming back from injuries, the guys who are getting their opportunity, those guys that are sucking and falling down the depth chart. We will do a You Need video on them so you can see whether or not you need the player. That's why it's called You Need. But you need to click that subscribe button right now and stop missing out. So when you're searching up a player, you can come here and get the advanced analytics. But we're going to start off looking at Isaac Guerendo. Likely out, unlikely to play per source, hamstring issue. So you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance with Isaac Guerendo. There is a chance. There is a chance here. But Isaac Guerendo is probably not going to be playing this week. It's not looking good. Odds are saying it's Patrick Taylor time. Odds are saying that he's going to get his opportunity. Hasn't really done much this season. 7 carries, 25 yards, and a touchdown against the Bears. That's really it. That's really it. You're going to put the fantasy playoffs on that? Are you going to do that? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear about that. But we're looking at what he's done on his career. An RB2 season back in 2021, and that's it. That's it. Just getting spot touches over the course of time. He's been with the Packers. He's been a little bit with the Niners. Just a running back that's been yo-yoing through the NFL system. And that's what we can say about him. He's a fringe backup running back that we're looking at here, who is getting into opportunity here. But he's good between the tackles. He's got size. He's got a little bit of wiggle to him. But we got to go back to the college days, because we got to connect the dots, see what he looks like as a player, especially since we do not have much to draw back from his NFL career here. But what we are looking at from him is a running back that can be productive. Over 1,000 yards in 2018, 16 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns in 2017. That 2018 season, 3.03 yards after contact per attempt, 36 missed tackles forced. Not many missed tackles forced compared to 208 carries. That's something you can say. Not really adding much to his opportunities. That's what you can say from all the way back then. Now we got more time under his belt through the NFL system. But still connecting the dots here. We got a good running back. An okay running back that looks like he can hold it down for a little bit at the NFL level. 4.57 40-yard dash. 217 pounds. That has changed. That's a long time ago. But one thing you can say, we got some size. We can run it between the tackles. We got some opportunity there. We got some good vision. We're able to kick around the league this long while being an undrafted free agent coming out for the draft back in 2020. That's something to say about Patrick Taylor. So you do have some opportunity there. If he was a flat-out bust, he would have been out of the league by now with him being UDFA status. So he's getting his opportunity now. And you're looking at the backfield here. Jordan Mason leads the team in rushing with 789 yards. 5.2 yards per carry. He's dust, though. He's on IR. Isaac Guerendo might be dust this week. 5.2 yards per carry. One of the most exciting running backs in the league right now because he's a home run threat. Christian McCaffrey, we had a cup of coffee with him, and he's been stellar. Very nasty in the past game. He's out for the year. Patrick Taylor looks like he's the next man up. He's the most trending running back on Sleeper right now when it comes to searches. He's one of the most trending players on my YouTube page right now when I look at my numbers. When it comes to my view counts over the last half hour or so, everybody's trying to get information on Patrick Taylor. That's why we're doing this video. I'm not here to proclaim whether he's a start or not. I'm here to give you some ideas for your team. And when we're looking at what he's doing on the year, not much, but we've been in the system for a little bit. So they know what they got with Patrick Taylor. He's a guy that's just going to get it done. He's going to be able to run the play. He may not be able to get it done to the point that amounts to accumulating a lot of fantasy points, but coaches can trust him with the rock, can trust him he takes the right steps out of the backfield, can trust that they can run a lot more of their system with him, especially since he's had some time with the team. Looking at what he's done over the NFL, he hasn't done much. 311 yards on his career. That's it. 3.9 yards per carry. It's a wonder why UDFA with that efficiency metric is still kicking around, but we're still here. That must mean he's very dependable. That must mean he's a coach's player. That is something to look at there. That is something to pay attention to. You're looking at the rankings for 4for4.com. They have not been adjusted yet. This is hot off the press. The news is very hot off the press. Isaac Guerendo, prior to that, ranked 15 among running backs. He was ranked in like the 60s. However, I don't think we would garner him in the same rankings as Isaac Guerendo. Just totally different players. It's not like he's got 4.3 speed. He's not explosive like that. He's not going to have the ability to house it on any given touch. Like, you're going to have to match him player for player here. Him versus Breece Hall. Him versus Tony Pollard. Him versus Rachaad White. I think you're going to go with what's safer there, if you know what I mean. Amir Abdullah is pretty high. Ramondre Stevenson's not safe, but gets volume. You got Javonte Williams in a weird matchup this week. Kendre Miller's super sexy. Najee Harris, Alexander Madison. You're in the 30s somewhere with him. So most often, you're not really starting him because we're looking at playoff teams here. Most playoff teams are probably not going to start him. There's one team that might in your bracket. So you may want to pick them up so they don't get those touches because they're stacked everywhere else. Guaranteed, because they were missing Christian McCaffrey all year. They're putting the pieces together. Maybe they had Jordan Mason. Or they had Jordan Mason all year. They lost him. And maybe then they lost Isaac Guerendo. Now they got a hole they've been trying to patch up. The waiver wire's not deep right now. You got Jerome Ford, Kendre Miller, and now we got Patrick Taylor. You need to get a couple of those running backs so that guy in the playoffs, if he's in that situation, can't do this. Can't do this. They got to go a little deeper at running back. That is what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at him as a must start. I'm looking at him as a guy that might get volume. But we're also looking at these two running backs. Israel Abanikanda has been on the team for a few weeks now. There's some packages for him by now. He's got a lot of upside. He's a big-time running back prospect, drafted in the 5th round by the Jets. And honestly, they just kept bringing in running back talent. They couldn't keep him anymore. He did not get dropped because he was bad. He'd make an impact on a lot of teams. I wouldn't say start. Like, if you put him on the Cowboys, you'd be interested in him right now. Him and Rico Dowdle, that'd be a nice little tandem. That would be a nice little tandem. Not sexy, but nice little tandem. You put him on some teams, he'd make an impact as the RB2. That is a good running back right there. Keyshawn Vaughn's been around. He's very good at Vanderbilt. Didn't get it done in Tampa Bay. But he's a running back who's on the practice squad right now. He's probably going to get the bump up. Who's been kicking around a little bit. Had some carries for the 49ers. Knows system a little bit. Might be getting some opportunity as well. Both these running backs, we could have a mixed match of these backs in. We could have that going into this week. Don't get that twisted. I'm not guaranteeing anything when it comes to this. But don't be surprised if someone goes, oh, we didn't expect that was going to happen. But this backfield's got a little juice to it on the back end. We always like a little juice on the back end. But we're looking at the schedule here. We got the Dolphins this week. Middle of the road. We looked at 4for4. They said the matchup's not that great. But they're middle of the road when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs, which I think that's okay in circumstances like this. However, you're looking at next week, December 30th. That's after Christmas against the Lions. Rough matchup. Lions are banged up, but I don't know. I don't trust that. We do have some time to get healthy. That being said, that may be too nasty of a matchup to make a decision like this unless you're absolutely hurting. Plus, maybe more running backs get hurt and you can plug them in. You got Arizona coming up. If you're still playing ball in Week 18, some of you are. Looking at this Dolphins matchup because we're going to hyper-focus on this baby. Miami, last 3 games. Above league average in fantasy points per game to running backs. Josh Jacobs hit them. Isaiah Davis hit them. Joe Mixon got by. Antonio Gibson is the only running back that got shut down this year by the Dolphins. He's the only running back that got shut out. They only shut out the Patriots this year when it comes to running backs. They bend a little bit, and they've gotten broken a few times. James Cook broke them. Zach Charbonnet broke them. and Josh Jacobs broke them. They will bend the running back. So there's a chance that they will break. How far will they break to these 49ers running backs? Probably not too much. I would guess the safe range is 10 to 12 fantasy points to the leading rusher who gets the touches. But there's also a chance that they hold it down. Maybe a 10 spot. Maybe on the low end of that. Maybe a 10 spot if you're expecting that. I would expect 10 to 12 range. Maybe the low end though. And I'm scared of it. I'm not confident. The odds of him going gangbusters, getting you 20, they have to keep pushing it to the red zone, and he has to cross the goal line. They have to be inside 20 yards. They give him the carries, and things break open. That happens a couple times. That's how that has to happen in this matchup. There's a chance that he gets you 10 to 12 baseline production. If you simulated this game 100 times, I bet you about half of them, if he's getting the full workload, he gets you about 10 to 12. I bet you there's about 10 times where he explodes past 20, and that's under those circumstances I just said. I think the rest of the time, he's under 10. So whatever percentage those are, I think I gave you 10% of over 20, 50% of 10 to 12. So you're looking at 30% at being Bustville or Super Bustville. That being said, that's what you're looking at with Patrick Taylor. That's what I'm seeing from this matchup here. I think the odds are okay that you get baseline production out of him. You don't need him. You can't stash him. You're not going to start him. You're not going to waste your time. That makes sense. I recommend that if you're in that position. However, look at your playoff brackets. Look at your playoff bracket. If someone needs a running back, if they're hurt by this news, scoop them up and stash them. Scoop them up and stash them. Force them to play Jalen Wright. Force them to play Jalen Wright this week. That is what you're doing. That's what you're doing. We're playing defense right now. We're not sitting here trying to get the most fantasy points with all these pickups. I don't think he's going to score the most fantasy points. But we're not going to mess around anymore. We're going to play some defense. If you need the touches, he's a good touch merchant. He's an okay touch merchant because I think they might spread it around a little bit, see what they got here with the other running backs. I think that might happen. But you should hoard them. You should look at that. Look at your playoff bracket, see what you can do. Look at the playoff bracket, see what you can do. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.